Hello, my name is Martin, and this is Short Stories. Today's short story is a legend from Switzerland. It's about a humble hero who helped overthrow a tyrannical government and established the first Swiss Confederacy. There have been multiple books, plays, and even operas written about him. Perhaps you've heard the William Tell Overture written by Gioacchino Rossini. If you haven't listened to it before, you really should. It's very good. What's also good is the vocabulary and example sentences, which I will read to you first. After I finish telling you the story of William Tell, I'll ask you 4 listening comprehension questions. Vocabulary. Tyrant. Tyrant. North Korea is ruled by a cruel tyrant. Rebellion. Rebellion. The government was overthrown by a rebellion. Salute. Salute. The soldiers saluted the general as they marched by. Maniac. Maniac. The dangerous maniac was sent to a psychiatric hospital. Dead center. Dead center. We put the table in the dead center of the living room. Oppression. Oppression. Many people left the country to escape oppression. Scheme. Scheme. The businessman came up with a new scheme to make money. Liberty. Liberty. The new Constitution guarantees liberty for all citizens. The story. In the year 1307, the Habsburg Emperor appointed a new governor to rule over central Switzerland. That governor's name was Albrecht Gessler, and he was a mean tyrant. In fact, that's the whole reason that the emperor chose him. The emperor's power was weakening, and the people of Switzerland were becoming unhappy with Habsburg authority. In order to quell a potential rebellion, the emperor appointed a harsh judge to oppress the people. However, this very act ended up fanning the flames of rebellion, and it was the action of a modest hero that set those flames free. William Tell was a mountaineer and hunter who lived near the town of Altdorf. He was famous for his skill with a crossbow. It was said that he could shoot an apple from 100 yards. But Tell did not care much for fame, so he spent most of his time living in his humble cottage with his wife and son. Once a month, he and his son would go into town to sell furs and buy supplies. Usually, he would stop at the local tavern to take a rest and hear the news. Increasingly, that news was negative. While visiting the tavern, Tell met a friend of his, Ulrich. He asked for the news, and Ulrich said, "Things are getting really bad, William." Tell asked him to explain. "It's the governor. He demands loyalty from everyone in the region. He has placed his cap on top of a pole in the town square and demands that everyone who passes by salute it. If they don't, they will be imprisoned at his castle in Kusnacht. Oh, I don't want to think about the terrible things the guards do to them." Tell thought he was exaggerating. "You don't want to think about a lot of things, Ulrich." He then paid his tab and left. On his way home, Tell and his son, Walter, passed through the town square. A guard who was watching saw that Tell didn't salute the governor's cap. "Hey, you!" shouted the guard. "Why didn't you salute the governor's cap?" Tell looked at the guard, then at the cap, and said, "It was so small, I guess I missed it." The guard got really mad and arrested Tell and his son on the spot. After a few hours in a prison cell, Gessler arrived with a dozen guards to take Tell out to the courtyard. The guard removed his handcuffs. "What do you want now?" asked Tell. Gessler grinned and said, "I've heard that you are a great shot with a crossbow. I'd like to test your skills." The guard handed Tell his quiver and crossbow. "I want to make a bet with you, Tell," continued Gessler. "I'll let you go if you can shoot this apple off of your son's head." At that moment, a guard came into the courtyard with Walter and tied him to a tree. Tell's heart almost stopped. "You maniac!" he growled at Gessler. Gessler just laughed and said, "Surely someone with your skill has nothing to fear. I bet you can do it in one shot." Another guard placed the apple on Walter's head. Tell wiped the sweat from his forehead as he looked at his poor son. "Hurry up, Tell," said Gessler. "If you don't shoot the apple soon, I'll have you both killed." Tell looked into his son's eyes. "Shoot, father," shouted Walter. "Don't be afraid. I promise to stand still." Tell took 2 bolts from his quiver. He put one in his belt and the other in the crossbow. He cocked the bow and took aim. Whoosh! The bolt flew across the courtyard and hit the apple dead center. Tell sighed in relief as the guards untied his son. "Great shot," declared Gessler. "I knew you could do it, Tell. But tell me, why did you put a second arrow in your belt?" Tell looked Gessler in the eye and said, "If the first arrow had hit my son, the second arrow would have gone through your heart." Gessler did not like this response at all. He had the guards tie up Tell and beat him. While the guards were kicking him, Tell shouted to his son, "Run home and tell your mother what has happened here. I'll be home soon." The next morning, the guards loaded Tell onto a cart. "We're taking you to Kusnacht," said the guard. "You won't be seeing your son any time soon," he added. It was a long trip to Kusnacht. The castle was perched on top of a cliff overlooking a lake. When the group reached the lake, Tell was transferred to a boat. He looked up at the dark clouds in the sky and said, "It looks like a storm is coming. It's not a good idea to go out on the lake." One of the guards smacked him and grunted, "Shut up!" Tell, who knew a lot about the mountains and how dangerous the weather can be at high altitudes, was right. The wind became stronger and stronger. The boat began to rock dangerously. The guards decided to head to shore for safety. Just as they got close to a rock slab that stuck out into the water, Tell pulled an arrowhead from his boot and quickly cut the rope on his wrists. He then leapt out of the boat while kicking one of the guards into the water. "Help!" shouted the guard. "I'm drowning!" While the other guards were busy saving their friend, Tell got away. When Gessler heard of Tell's escape, he became furious. He ordered hourly patrols and doubled the number of soldiers. The oppression in the region became worse. Tell was on the run. He only knew of one person who might help him, Ulrich. Tell snuck into Ulrich's house one night and asked him for help. Ulrich told him, "Of course I will help you, William. You are a local hero now. Everyone was inspired by your act of defiance." He hugged Tell close and whispered, "We have big plans, actually. We could use your help." Tell looked at his friend and asked, "What kind of plans?" Ulrich proceeded to tell him about his scheme. A few days later, Gessler was racing down the road in his gilded carriage when he was suddenly stopped by a woman and her 7 children. They were all standing in the road, blocking his path. "What's all this about?" he yelled. The woman fell to her knees and started begging. "Mercy, my lord! Pardon, pardon! My husband is in your prison, and my children are hungry. Please have pity on us." Gessler stepped out of his carriage and started shouting at the poor woman and her children. "Step aside, or I will ride you down." The woman kept on begging. "I can see now that I've been too mild on you people," grumbled Gessler. "From now on, no one in this valley will have peace until—" Before Gessler could finish his sentence, he heard a whoosh. He looked down at his chest and saw an arrow sticking out. He suddenly felt tremendous pain and fell to his knees. The begging woman stood up and looked down at the once proud Gessler. "Look, children," she said, "this is how a tyrant dies." Gessler gasped and looked up. On a large rock, about 100 yards away, he could see the silhouette of a man. "This is William Tell's work," he wheezed. Plop! Gessler fell face down in the dirt, dead. The death of Gessler gave Ulrich and his compatriots the opportunity to begin their revolution. They swept across the entire region, destroying guard posts and rounding up Gessler's agents. The revolution continued for a few more years until 1315, when the 4 regions of Switzerland signed the Pact of Brunnen. A new confederation was formed and liberty declared across the land. No longer would Switzerland be ruled by kings or emperors, and to this day, the people of Switzerland remember the heroism of the man who helped make this possible, William Tell. Questions. Number 1. Why did the emperor appoint Gessler as governor? A. He wanted someone kind to help the people. B. He wanted someone mean to oppress the people. C. Gessler was his brother. D. Gessler paid a bribe. Question 2. Why was William Tell arrested? A. He was driving too fast. B. He didn't salute the governor's cap. C. He was stealing apples. D. He killed the governor. Question 3. Why did William Tell shoot an apple on his son's head? A. He was forced to do it by Gessler. B. He made a friendly bet with Gessler. C. Ulrich advised him to do it. D. He wanted to show off his skills. Question 4. Who killed Gessler? A. William Tell. B. Ulrich. C. Walter. D. The Emperor.